Wherefore, Part 13. The Wizard Wigstan is in his allotment late at night in the company of a young badger. The young badger's name is properly expressed as a 3-second throaty growl followed by a high-pitched yip. Feel free to attempt this, but my using it may disrupt the flow of the story, so I shall just keep referring to him as Badger Boy. The Wizard Wigstan is eating cleavers. Badger Boy has just crunched up a shiny beetle and is digging about for worms. Wigstan is aware that this badger turns into a human at the full moon, but he has yet to ascertain why. Not that why is necessarily the most important question. How would be interesting to explore. Wigstan also likes to ask philosophical questions, such as, how do the worms feel about this? And would it look different if I was a cloud? And what does it mean to turn into a human? He is not the most pragmatic or practical of wizards, but he is exceptionally good at what he does. Currently, they are discussing the experience of becoming human. They are talking in Badger. Feel free to provide your own sound effects. Badger Boy has questions about the meaning of clothes, the gifting of food between humans, and how human language works. He is surprised by how interested in each other's tongues humans seem to be. But not you, he points out to Wigstan. You are not interested in my tongue. Wigstan says that this may be because he's only known Badger Boy as a badger, and that most humans are only interested in the tongues of other humans. Why is it that some beings turn into other beings, and some do not? Why do grubs turn into things with wings, Wigstan wonders. Unless I eat them, Badger Boy points out, and then of course they turn into badger. What do you learn from being a human? Wigstan asks. What does the grub learn from turning into part of my ample rump? Wigstan wonders out loud why all of this is happening to Badger Boy, who in turn supposes that the grubs must have similar feelings. Snacking complete, Badger Boy heads off to a garden likely to provide him with peanuts, while Wigstan continues on his rounds. He is attempting to map the rhubarb. He is mapping ordinary rhubarb plants and full moon rhubarb plants, and is alert for rhubarb that just turns up. How many of these are there? Thinks he may have spotted it a few times now, appearing in gardens only until harvested. How it moves about he has yet to discover. Wigstan has considered taking a few stems himself for research and experimentation, but there is something about the rhubarb that makes him nervous. It is partly the way he can still hear it after it has been cooked. It hums to itself in jars and freezers, in pies and the bodies of those it infiltrates, and day by day it becomes an ever stronger presence in the valleys. It is not a dramatic takeover, but there is quiet power here. To further complicate things, it is moondark tonight, and there will likely be trouble on the common. This is not a new problem. Based on his studies of parish records, there have been hungry nights in the wilder places for as long as anyone has been making notes. Probably longer. It is rare that they take a person, but it definitely happens. The Wizard Wigstan feels a certain amount of professional obligation to get up there and keep an eye on the shrubbery. Make sure it doesn't eat anyone. Then he wonders why exactly he feels it is the people he should protect from the plants who rampage in the moondark. Perhaps the hungry thorns need protecting more. They are rare and only follow their natures. Perhaps they could be persuaded to eat the people who hang poo bags in their branches. He walks to the common. The night is thick with ghosts, with the pounding of ancient hooves and the forms of forgotten creatures. The air tastes of boar and lynx, and happily tonight, lynx does not signify the smell of teenage boys. Wigstan prefers the sharp, uncompromising smell of the large cat to the chemical concoction that is the mating signal of the young human. The night is full of memory and movement. bushes shift and wander, angling for the best feeding positions. There may be a stray jogger to catch in the pre-dawn light. Wigstan stands between the primordial force of the hill at moondark and the soft, synthetic lights of the sleeping town below. He stands between what was and what might be. The balance is hard. Tonight the hill is wilder than ever, as though it is a creature itself, poised to shake its flanks and throw off the tiny humans who cling to it. He has felt this growing energy for months now, as though the land itself remembers its lost inhabitants and longs for their return. As though time has folded around, moving closer to the past, looping now dangerously close to then, and making thin points where a woolly rhinoceros might push its way across. Reality feels so fragile just now. A more chaotically minded wizard could harness this energy for their own purposes. Wigstan does not think that any of the other wizards really have what it takes to do that. None of them are properly mad enough. He, on the other hand, was always as much a seer and shaman as a conventional wizard. His magic is inherently of the land, and he might be able to work with this in his own ways. From the hilltop, Wigstan can see the faint glows where the other wizards have made their places of power. The Crow King's tower, the River Wizard's boat, the loneliest house, the most public house, and all the rest. Viewed from here, they all seem like small magic. If the hill decided to be done with them, it would shake them off as easily as all the other fragile humans. Looking out across the dark expanse of land and sky, the Wizard Wigstan can see there is so much more going on than the usual magic of the Five Valleys. The boar god is rousing on the other side of the river, and there is no knowing what that will mean. A giant is sleeping in the curved nest of the spoonbed, and all along the ancestral paths that run along the hilltops, the trees are waking up to themselves. The valleys are full of memory and yearning. The oolites are whispering of wakeful things in the deep, forgotten limestone caves far beneath the hill. Everything, it seems, is restless now. Set in this wider context, the small mystery of the were-rhubarb does not seem like such a great problem. It is a dilemma on a Stroud scale, and not so dangerous in the grand scheme of things. There are wolves stirring in the soil, stirring in the dreams of the hill itself. The oolites are uneasy about what wakes in their deepest bowels. Somewhere, out towards Minchinhampton, a poet gets out of a car with the intention of taking an ostentatious early morning walk in order to think overtly poetic and important thoughts. They are everything this night has been waiting for. Wigstan feels the tension in the bushes even at this distance. There is not much he can do. He feels the struggle of bushes waiting, the anticipation, the quiet pounce of hungry plant matter, the digestion of poet bones and poet thoughts alike. A moondark sacrifice has been found. The hill exhales, more at peace with itself now.